Okay, now let's get some reaction from Black Sash's Amanda Rinquest. Ms. Rinquest, welcome back on Midday View here on eNCA. Thank you very much for your time. First up, Black Sash's overall reaction or response to what the Minister and SASSA had to say.
Thank you so much, Dan. Very glad to be back. So our overall reaction is that we are still a bit disappointed and we still have lots of questions about what the Minister has said yesterday. Our concern remains about the monthly verification. We think that this doesn't create certainty for beneficiaries. And what we should have is that someone must qualify. And in the first month that they qualify, they must be assured that they will get it until March next year so that people are not living in fear about where their next meal will come from. Our second concern is that the application is still completely online. And this creates a huge divide for people who don't have access to cell phones, access to data, and who have a SASSA office just nearby. So the fact that all three payment channels require a cell phone or some level of data, we're still very concerned about. But we do welcome the fact that the Minister is using additional payment channels. And these channels include the banks and the retailers. This we are very glad about. But we do want to have some clarity about what's going to happen about bank charges. We know that it already costs beneficiaries transport costs to get their 350 Rand. They must stand in long queues that are not well socially distanced. And so now we want to know if this is also going to cost retailers banking fees. And we want BASA to waive the fees for grant beneficiaries permanently in the same way that they've just waived SASS switch fees for those who use other banks. So this is our main concerns.
Okay. So now the applications start tomorrow and they will still be happening online. It doesn't really assist the situation. I don't know how much it can be changed at this late stage. Will you, as Black Sash, engage now with the department again? You said you've tried yesterday. You're telling me you've tried to keep the lines of communication very much open. Are you going to pick it up with them?
Yeah, we will definitely continue to communicate with the SASSA CEO and other SASSA officials to make sure that we continue to make sure that as many people who are in need have access to this grant, including asylum seekers, refugees, special permit holders who qualify too. We want to make sure that the message is out there that this is a lifeline for people as much as it is an insufficient lifeline. It's a lifeline that must be better handled.
And the fees matter seems to bother you as Black Sash a lot because, I mean, these monies are deposited, then they are handled just on a normal day-to-day account with any bank. They charge us money for handling cash.
I understand that, and that's the difference is that you and we have an income, and we have an understanding that there's going to be bank charges. But these are groups of people who have no income. This is their only source of income, and we can't keep taking away from that. Transport costs, people stand in line all day, so they often have to buy themselves something to eat. And now we're also going to charge them withdrawal fees. I think I'm not trying to make an enemy of the Banking Association of South Africa, but I think BASA has had that banks have had enough of all of our income for the last few years, that they can at the very least waiver these to the most vulnerable, especially during a pandemic. Okay,
and of course the other matter is how you facilitate. I mean, tomorrow they'll be opening up the applications, but then when the queuing comes, as I said yesterday, we've seen destruction of some malls and all those kind of issues, but it looks like there's going to be mobile pay points as well. I'm sure you welcome that.
Yeah, we do welcome any effort to make the grant as accessible to people as possible, including taking mobile pay points to communities, especially communities who were affected by last month's unrest in KZN and Johannesburg and Gauteng. So these we do welcome. And I think it's an important process because social grant beneficiaries are part of the South African economy. That grant goes back into the economy. And so retailers and banks have a role to play in making sure that people have access to their money. It is only for these retailers benefit that they're able to make the grant accessible to grant beneficiaries.
Yeah. Finally, Amanda, the minister expressing concern that you've got about 571,000 uncollected money grants. The grants were given, they were approved, but they remain uncollected from post offices, and she's urging people to really go and collect. Organizations like yours that are working on the ground with people as Black Sash, is there anything you can do to make sure that the applicants do go and collect their money? I mean, there could be myriad of reasons. You know, we are in the middle of a pandemic, for one, and also some people, you know, as well, after what happened last month, you know, in the 2 weeks of July, that nightmare we all went through, and we're all traumatized by it. People could say, hey, I'm scared of going, and of course there might not be a pay point there. What can Black Sash do?
Thank you so much for asking me that question. I was hoping you would. I want to say that there are two key issues with that. The one is that the Department of Social Development and SASSA doesn't have a payment cycle for this grant. So someone who receives a child support grant knows that they go every fourth day of the month, every fourth of the month to go and fetch their grant. But because the administration of this grant has been so abysmal at times, people don't know if they have money, if they've qualified. There's been lack of communication. So people who have not fetched their money, it's because they probably don't know, and it hasn't been communicated that they have qualified, that there is money in their account. So we want to, as the Black Sash, continue to call for a proper payment cycle and a 6-month qualification. And we want to say that we must make sure that we get money to people so that they don't feel unsafe to go and fetch their money in town. People don't have to use 70 rands taxi fare to go back to town and back to fetch their grant, that they get an e-wallet with their money, or they're able to fetch it from retailers, so that we don't have this excess amount that the minister is giving people 25 days to collect now.
Okay, thank you very much. Let's see what's going to happen. I'm going to try as well and get hold of the CEO of SASSA, Ms. Mamela, just to find out how ready they are, and raise that online concern that you as Black Sash have gotten, to see how else they could manage the process. Good luck as well with your engagements. Thank you very much, Ms. Rinquest, Amanda Rinquest. She's, of course, from Black Sash. They've been calling for universal basic income for a long time, and they're really, really trying to make sure that the right things are done to facilitate the payment of grants to the poor.